But I mean, when we did the first test screening, it was like, this could be terrible. Like we could, like there could be an uprising in the audience. And I don't think I've ever heard an audience of women laugh as hard as they did at that. And you go, oh, this is cool. Like it's just relatable because this is about humans and the high and the low of being human. And I think that's what, to me, that's what I always want to do with my storytelling. I always want to have an element of comedy in there because to me, straight drama with no laughs in it isn't like real life because we flee from those kind of situations. No matter how bad, you're at funerals, people still try to make jokes or try to lighten it up. And so anything is just kind of oppressive. Like I would say, like, if I see a movie with everybody serious in it, I wouldn't in real life want to hang out with those people. Like everybody's so serious and nobody made a joke, I'd be like, I gotta get out of here. So that's how I kind of face my movies, no matter what the story is.
You mentioned when we were coming in here, I chose this option and you wanted to hold the handheld mic. You said it sort of takes you back to your stand-up days. And what were those days like, and what do you still use from those days in your work now?
Yeah, I mean, I started doing stand-up when I was 15 years old because I was a Steve Martin fanatic, George Carlin, and all that. And that was right. There was a show called, any old-timers like me in here, called Make Me Laugh, which was a game show about comedians, and like very loosely, a contestant would come out, and 3 comedians would have to come out one at a time, try to make them laugh for a minute. If they made them laugh, then the person would lose. But all these, it's kind of, that show kind of started the comedy club scene, like the open mic nights and having more dedicated comedy clubs. And so suddenly there was comedy clubs all over the place, and I just wanted to do that. And so I made my parents take me at 15 years old down to the first comedy club in Detroit, which was called the Delta Lady, which was a biker bar in the worst part of Detroit. And I go in there with this ridiculous routine that's all kind of pilfered jokes from Johnny Carson and stuff like that. And I got big laughs, but I realized in retrospect they were, again, laughing at me. But my ego wouldn't let me believe that. And so I just acted like I was a stand-up for a long time. I went to film school at USC, and then when I came out, I did 5 years as a professional stand-up comedian all over the place. And the great training about stand-up comedy for me was, I use it all the time now in making my movies, because when you're a stand-up comic, you put together your act, you write stuff, and then you go on stage and you test it. And you try it out, and I always record it, have a tape recorder, and then go back, okay, that didn't work, I'm gonna punch this up, and you just would work your act that way over and over and over again at different clubs, going around every night to different clubs, and I would go out to like 3 clubs per night, 7 nights a week, and just build this act. And so now when I make my movies, that's why I'm so slavish to test screenings, because the DGA gives you 10 weeks to kind of do your director's cut. But I found if I do 10 weeks on my movie, by the time I get to 10 weeks, I'm so in love with everything I've done that to put it in front of an audience and they don't like this or that, you're like, oh, how dare they, they're idiots. So what I do now is just like 3 or 4 weeks in, we'll put it together and we'll go like, okay, yeah, I think it works. Let's just take it out there. And so we'll test screen it and record the laughs. Sometimes we can videotape the audience with night vision just to see where they're flagging. And then we go, okay, that didn't work, that worked, that didn't work. We go back, because I shoot all this extra material, different jokes, and we just keep swapping stuff out. So we build a movie, a comedy, commercial comedy, the same way I used to build my act. So by the time we lock picture, we've done probably sometimes 8, 9, 10 test screenings over the course of months. And we know that for the majority of an audience, it works because you go, okay, that always gets a laugh, that always got a laugh. But you always keep for yourself a couple of ones that don't necessarily get a laugh, you just know they're funny, so it's kind of your screw you. Somebody will laugh at them sometime, at least not.
You also worked as an actor and acted for yourself and for other directors. You actually have like twice as many acting credits on IMDb so far as you do directing. So what do you carry from when, especially working for other directors as an actor, what do you carry from that when you do your work with that?
I think my greatest strength as a director and producer is the fact that I was an actor, because I understand what actors go through and I understand what it takes to get the best performance from them and create an environment where they can do their best work. Because I was lucky enough to work with really good directors mostly through my career. I did a lot of sitcoms, like in front of a live audience, which was fun, but you would always have like a rotating group of directors who would come in and out, especially for the ones that were more single camera. Like I was on a show called Sabrina the Teenage Witch for a season, and it pretended that it was in front of an audience, but it really wasn't. It would shoot, like a kind of a normal show that they put a laugh track in. But, so you'd have a revolving door of directors, and there were occasionally, you know, you have really good directors who support it, but occasionally you get somebody who's just like, no, what are you doing? You know, that's terrible. And I would like freeze up because I was known for kind of, I would experiment and kind of improv a line or just surprise people with a different joke just to, you know, see what happened. And when somebody would just slap you down like that, it created such a bad environment for me because I would just tense up and then I would not be as good. And so I was vowed, like, if I ever get in charge, man, I'm never doing that. And that's what I, on my movies, it's not a free-for-all, like kind of organized chaos, because we go and we have a really set script. You know, we make sure the script is great, so we just shot that, we'll be in great shape. But then, once you're there, that's the chance to play. You spend, you know, everybody knows how hard it is to set something up. And so, all this work goes into that day when you get on the set. So you get on the set and go like, all right, just read the script and let's get out and go. Like, no, that's what we're working towards. That moment when people are in front of a camera and they're in front of a background and they're interacting and some of the ideas are coming, that's the moment that we work towards and build towards. So don't throw that moment away. And I, you know, even with my ADs and everything, we schedule, you know, we still have to hit a schedule, but I'll go like, these are the scenes I need a lot of time for. So this scene I can do in one thing, it's somebody walking over here, kind of an action thing. But give myself that time so that then everybody's able to play. And it's like, well, what do you know, like, try this. And I'm coming up with ideas, they're coming up with ideas, and they want to surprise me, I want to surprise them. So I'll usually have like a writer on the set with me with a notepad or a post-it pad. They're writing notes, like jokes, and passing them into me. So I'm like, oh, you know, try this, I'm throwing that out. So it becomes this great thing where everybody's kind of doing their thing and everybody feels empowered. But the biggest thing about that, why I would get mad about, in retrospect, the guys who go like, that's terrible, don't do that, is I've had so many times where one of my actors would go like, oh, hey, can I try this? I'm like, yeah, sure, go ahead. And they'll do something, I'd go like, oh, it's so terrible. And like, what a dumb joke. But I just go like, cool, that's great, we got that. Let's build up that, or let's just try something else, or let's move on. And I'm telling you, probably about 7 times out of 10, when I get in the editing room, that will actually be the one that actually works. Because it came from their soul, they know the actor, the character better than I do, and just in the context of the piece itself, it actually works. Because I just don't have a lot of patience for writer-directors who are just so religious about their scripts. But again, you've got to have a great script. If you show up and just shoot the script, it should be great. But you hire talented people. Why would you possibly cut off their creativity? You know, I don't want to name any names, but a friend of mine who's a very kind of famous actress who's great at improv, and she went off to do a movie with a showrunner who had a very successful show, but was known to be kind of a control freak. And he hired some other great improv people that I know, and I was like, it must be so much fun. She said, it was a nightmare. Because he would not let us deviate one syllable from the script. I'm like, why would you do that? You know, you have these powerhouses there. Even if you don't use any of it, let them do it. They'll find something, and you'll get something more out of it. So it's a long-winded, sorry for the long answer, but I just think, to me, that's the way to get lightning in the bottle. I think that's all I'm ever after in a movie, is getting that moment that happens, and that's why I cross-shoot a lot. Like that first scene in Bridesmaids where Maya and Kristen are just talking in the coffee shop. That was just a 5 to 6 hour shoot of 2 cameras shooting, you know, like the camera on me, camera on you at the same time, and them just doing the script and then playing, and I'm like, hey, try this, try that, you know. And out of that comes this thing where you don't need to have exposition in that scene. You don't need to actually hear, you know, going, oh, Annie, I've known you for 15 years. You know, you just see them. And also with Maya and Kristen were true friends in real life, and that energy came through. And so that's what I'm always looking for. That moment when an audience, you just get immediately sucked in. You don't feel like you're watching somebody. I don't like when I feel like I can watch the screenplay while I'm watching the actors doing it. And it's not the fault of the actors at all, because they're always really good. It's just, there's always just something more lively if they just make it their own.
Was your process, just because it was a different genre with A Simple Favor, which was more of a thriller, I guess, was your process different with that film than with the comedies?
It was slightly different just because the thriller genre is so tight to the structure that you have to have. But Blake and Anna are amazing improvisers, and they're also very inventive in how they interpret the lines themselves. So with Anna, again, because we could deviate a bit, but we still kind of need to stay on it. But Anna was more fun, almost improving attitudes with her. So you're like, try this one like really crazy. Try this one really contained. Try this one where you're trying to get a laugh. And she would just every time surprise me with her physicality and the way she would deliver a line and her interpretation of it. And so that was really fun. And then Blake she just devoured that role because she was so excited to get to play this villain. And she was just pitching stuff, and it was so funny and really rude, really like very R-rated. I have these things that I've kept where she was trying to think of like insults, and it's just the dirtiest things. She'd like at the end she'd sign and go like, "Okay, this is for you." I'm gonna hang those on my wall somewhere.
So you spent Saturday, if I've got the right date, Saturday at the Ghostbusters Fan Fest in LA, and returned to that project, which many in here love. I'm a big fan of that movie as well. I laughed very hard many times at that movie. But we've talked about this. That movie took on a lot of baggage. It was never meant to carry with the kind of the narrative around the gender bending of it. But I think you had a good experience on Saturday, and how did that play out?
Yeah, I mean, it was very cathartic. I was kind of dreading it because Jason Reitman had called me up and said, would you come and do this? We'd love to have you there. And I was hesitant just because it was a bad time. It was a really bad experience. Making the movie was the greatest experience of my life. I had so much fun doing it. Just the fighting with the internet and then all the bad publicity we got because of that. I don't think people have figured out yet what trolls are, and like that there's not as many as they seem like they are, so they amplified it. So it all goes to say that it was just a bad experience in that way, and it had been attacked so much. So, but I would also be reached out to by so many women and girls, and also by guys and boys who loved it, and really, it brought them into the Ghostbusters universe. And so many parents would write me, thank you so much, because my kids, they weren't into Ghostbusters. Now this helped bring them into it, so now they had this in common because they all loved it. And then Jason Reitman was so sweet. He just made a very, very touching speech in front of this crowd who really embraced it. And that's what I had learned kind of slowly over the years is the true Ghostbusters fans, the real fans, were completely supportive and loved it. There's just a second layer of sort of the, kind of, I don't know, the guys who, I would say there's, we're all nerds kind of sitting there with our comic books and our sci-fi stuff, and then like the mean guys will come up like, hey, what's that? And they'll like grab it and go, yeah, this is cool. And they'll take and steal your stuff. I'm like, well, those are the guys I think that were mad at me. So, but it was nice. It was really fun to be with them. And I felt like I kind of, that was the completion of the fire that I had to go through.
And Jason's making a sequel, and there was some noise again about your own sequel. Is that something that might be in the offing one day?
I would faint if Sony ever made a sequel to mine. Sadly, it just didn't make